This is the third prayer of today. This is a jihad these men are fighting, a holy war. All of these men are devout Muslims. It's religion and fierce nationalism that unite the country people against the Russians. Everywhere I went, I saw nothing but respect for Commander Ishak and his men. Here, villagers come out to greet the guerrillas as they come into yet another village. Ritual is heavy here. Commander Ishak is so respected that each village chieftain formally welcomes his troops. It's an honor that Ishak returns.
Artillery. Go. We call it artillery?
When we entered the village, the locals wanted to lead us to a captured Russian gun which was stashed away. It was a 76-millimeter gun, field artillery. Commander Ishak decides we'll stay here overnight. The opportunity lets us glimpse at village life. It's clear that men fight, and women wash clothes, and raise the children. The next day, we walked up a nearby hill so our guerrilla band could target practice. The men insisted that a Western woman try her aim with a Russian assault rifle.
Could you see where it went?
Although under constant fear of gunship attack, we were expecting a peaceful day. A day where the bullets would be piercing practice targets, not enemy soldiers. Guerrillas are good marksmen. Suddenly, over the sound of our bullets, we could hear the thunder of artillery. The men realized the village we had just left was being shelled. Obviously, the Russians knew we were in the village. The Russian guns were 8 miles away from this village, but the guerrillas told me that put us within range of their heavy artillery. Some of the men in our group lived in the village. We all worried about the women and children, but there was nothing we could do. We were trapped on the hillside until the firing ended. When we got back to the village, we quickly saw the damage. The mosque was demolished. It was part of the chief's house. The shells exploded right next to the room where we had eaten our meal only hours before. The tractor was destroyed. 4 villages share this new tractor. Photographer Richard Pauli and I were personally affected by this hit. The tractor was our only source of power to recharge our camera batteries. One of the few cows belonging to the villagers was killed. A wall took a direct hit, leaving a big crater. Another crater showed where a shell exploded near a motorcycle. The fragments blew clear through the metal frame. It was obvious that because we had been spotted, we had to leave this territory. It was hard to believe that such beautiful countryside could be so treacherous. I couldn't walk another 20 miles. They borrowed a mule for me. As we made our way back over the mountains, we passed guerrillas moving into the battle area. They were packing in heavy machine guns in preparation for an attack on the Russian garrison. Men were digging in gun emplacements. The guerrillas would turn the captured Russian artillery against the Russians. The guerrillas have a few sophisticated weapons, but they barely make an impression on the tanks and gunships of the enemy. They are farmers mostly, these fiercely independent Muslim guerrilla fighters. They go to war wearing the pajama-like suit they have worn for centuries in the fields, with the same bandoliers strapped across their chests, filled with bullets for the Enfield rifles the British used against them in ancient wars. But I saw a new breed Afghan guerrilla this year. I had to be smuggled into a super-secret Afghan frontier camp to find this elite resistance soldier. This is the new Afghan freedom fighter. And this sophisticated training camp in unconventional warfare is a well-guarded secret. This is an Afghan freedom fighter. And this is a super-secret guerrilla training camp. You probably didn't expect to see a Muslim guerrilla in uniform, crawling on his stomach under barbed wire snares and through buried sewer pipes, climbing barefoot up vertical walls. You've been told that Afghan freedom fighters are probably the most rugged guerrillas in the world, both fierce and fearless. But they are peasants, untutored in the arts of modern warfare. All that is true, but that is no longer the whole truth. Photographer Richard Pauli and I were smuggled into this secret guerrilla commando camp where we found some very sophisticated Afghan peasants. This is an underground bomb factory.
It's all self-made, and some of the Mujahideen were almost empty-handed, can make it on their own, and all these materials are locally available.
For amateur chemists, these Afghan guerrillas are pretty good. And they're good at turning the hostile terrain to their own advantage. But this special commando course is just a prelude to this somber moment. These guerrillas were preparing to meet the Russians in battle. They would put that special training to the test. None of them knew if he would ever see Commander Isak again.
6.
This is the man who would lead these men over the mountain to launch an attack on the Russian garrison that had been shooting at us. He is Rahmatullah Safi, once a colonel in command of Afghan Army Special Forces. It was Safi who designed the guerrilla training course for the National Islamic Front of Afghanistan. Can you tell me anything at all about the battle?
Yes.
Now that it's...
Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock will be the beginning of raid to Peshawar.
This is the garrison?
Garrison in Jagjit.
You're attacking. What are you using? Can you tell me what you're using for weapons?
107 mountaineering mortar with the 42 rounds. 157 anti-tank with the 12 rounds. It's began surprise attack 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow.
Isn't that's before dark?
Well, I hope the aircraft not coming, then won't be able to come.
It was time for jihad, the holy war. To die fighting a jihad means instant martyrdom for a Muslim. That conviction is one reason these Afghan guerrillas apparently don't fear death.